So, Miss Violence. I had no idea what to expect from this movie. I saw a trailer for it that was 1 minute long and it didn't tell me anything. Um, I thought it was an Italian movie for some reason. It's Greek. So that was a weird surprise because I for some reason in my head I just thought Italian, but it was Greek. This is the first Greek movie that I've watched, I think, and I absolutely loved it. And it might sound weird that I loved it because of what it actually is, but it was absolutely incredible, I think. It was so good, and it was an hour and a half, and it felt so short. I just wanted, I don't know what I wanted. I just wanted it to continue, but at the same time I wanted it to end. And it's about a family who appears to be completely normal, and they're celebrating a birthday of a young girl. She's turning 11, and that girl just goes on the balcony and she smiles and then she jumps off. The family finds her downstairs and she's dead, but she has a smile on her face. And it's basically, it starts off with the family grieving, and it was very heartbreaking almost to watch them, and it felt so real. It felt like a real family, and I kept thinking, I wonder if, that's awful to say, but I wonder if my family would react that way. And it just felt really, really, I guess, authentic, the way that they were grieving. But then as the movie went on, social services get involved, and they want to sort of investigate why she fell, or if it was an accident. Was the home unsafe for her? What was she doing on the balcony and the railings, broke or something? Or was she bullied at school? Did she have problems with teachers? Did she have problems at home? And the family maintains that she was actually a perfect student, and at home everything's fine, and they look like a perfectly normal family, made up of a mother and a father, a daughter, and 4 children. And as you keep watching, you realize that that's not the family at all. The mother and the father are actually grandmother, grandfather. Their daughter is their daughter, but then one of the other children is also their daughter. So the older sister, I guess, has 3 children, one of which died. And then her younger sister is 14 years old. So at first I thought that she was another daughter to the mother, but in reality it's her sister. And you start to find out these weird relationships in the family. And the grandfather seems like a father figure to everybody, and he seems so caring and nice and kind. And he takes the kids to school, he picks them up from school, he does everything for them. And then the grandmother, I suppose, she stays at home sort of taking care of everybody. And it just took such a dark turn, and I don't even know what to say without spoiling it, because I certainly wouldn't want to spoil this movie. Nothing is what it seems, and the more you watch it, the creepier it gets. And I kept watching, and I think I was about 20 minutes in when I started thinking, something's wrong. Something here is so wrong. I thought at first that it would just be a regular story about a family grieving and coming to terms with the death of a loved one. In this case, a really young girl that not only died, but she actually chose to die. And I kept thinking, something's wrong. Something here is so wrong. And I kept trying to look for signs of, was she abused? Did they make her do it? What was going on in this family? There's something there. There's a big issue there. And it just got darker and darker. And even though there was no violence in it at first, you still know that there is violence in it. And it did it in such a way where two characters would be talking and then one would say, "Come with me," and they would go in a room and the door would close. And they would move on. And at first, in the beginning of the movie, you think, okay, they're just talking and they're trying to come to terms with it and they're having a conversation about their grieving process. But then as the movie goes on, you start thinking, what's actually going on in that room, in those rooms, in those conversations that we don't see? And then a bit later you start thinking, something bad's happening. Something really bad is happening in this family. And you sort of start to think, maybe it really is a reason why that girl died. And maybe there really is a reason why she chose to die, because this family is not okay. And then everything just falls apart. I mean, the characters are just so broken, and then the grandfather is so menacing, even though he's the quietest person ever, and he looks so non-threatening. You just know that there's something there, and there are layers to this movie, and you sort of go with it, and you explore this family and their problems and their relationships, and you just feel like your heart is gonna come out of your chest, because you think any moment something's gonna happen. Somebody's gonna go crazy and something will happen. And there's just such tension in this movie and such suspense. I guess that's the best part about it. The suspense was incredible. And so was the acting, because the actors really portrayed fear really well. Fear and sort of hopelessness and desperation and anger in a very interesting way. And it just goes on and on and on, and I kept thinking, I think I know what's going on, and I had my theories, and they were confirmed. My theories were confirmed about what was going on in the family. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that it's a bad thing that I figured it out. I think all the signs were there, and you are supposed to know what's happening before you actually see it. It was done in such a subtle way. It was very subtle, and I love that about it. Like I said, it just seems like a normal family, and very slowly you start to realize, no, something bad is happening. And it was just creepy. That family, and I kept thinking, yeah, if I lived in that family, I would probably jump off the balcony too. And that's awful. Awful people doing awful things to each other, and so dark. I don't even know what to say. I mean, just thinking back to it, so dark. And I loved it. When a movie can do that to you, and even now I'm struggling to really describe it. When a movie can do that to you and can make you think like that, I think that's always a good sign. And it's not what I expected it to be, which is always good. Not always, but you know what I mean. It turned out to be much more than I thought it would be. And it was so dark. I mean, it just kept getting worse and worse, and I kept thinking, this needs to end. I can't breathe anymore. This is awful what I'm watching. And it just wouldn't end. And then at the end, I don't know how to feel about it, because something good happened. But then it continued, and I'm very confused about the ending because I think about how I want it to happen, but I don't know if everybody's okay. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't know if the characters made it. Really, I don't want to say anything more because I'm gonna spoil it, but I highly recommend this movie if you are prepared to be disturbed. There's no like graphic, I guess, violence or gore or anything like that, but it's still disturbing. You know, movies like Saw and Hostel are not disturbing, those are just gross. This is where it gets disturbing, where you actually see what human beings are capable of doing in their own homes, to their own family. So, I loved it because it was so shocking to me. I don't know, maybe people don't. I don't get shocked easily, but watching this, I was just appalled. I was just, what am I watching? And it was a really interesting experience. I know I'm rambling on, and I'm not really saying anything substantial. It was just really good. It was just really good, but I would not recommend it if you're not prepared to see it. It's one of those movies where you have to be mentally prepared, and I was not. Because the movie will give you some time to adjust, but at the same time, you need to be prepared to adjust yourself. So, Miss Violence, really good, really, really good, and not at all what I was expecting. Incredible movie. It has easily become one of my favorite movies of this year so far, and probably will be one of my favorite movies down the line. So, yeah, disturbing people. Miss Violence, there's not much else I can say. I highly recommend this movie if you're prepared for it mentally and emotionally. So yeah, Miss Violence, I loved it. I did. I really did.